Let's stop pretending. She's not saying no to sex. She's saying no to you. And it's not because she's complicated or confused or not ready. It's because what you're putting out doesn't spark anything inside her. Most men don't get this. They think asking for intimacy is respectful. They think waiting patiently is attractive. They think being nice and non-threatening will get them invited into her world. But she doesn't want a polite approval seeker. She wants a man whose presence makes her feel something she can't ignore. A quiet confidence. A controlled fire. A sexual energy that doesn't beg, it pulls. And here's the uncomfortable truth nobody tells you. Intimacy is not requested. It's provoked. You don't ask for it like you're asking for permission to speak. You become the man that naturally awakens her desire with your presence, your composure, your certainty. And that's where most men lose the game before it even starts. They overthink. They second guess. They wait for signs. They fear being too much. But in that hesitation, they drain all attraction. Because female desire is not logical. It's not about your resume. It's about your energy. In this video, I'm going to show you something you won't hear anywhere else. How to awaken her attraction without saying a single needy word. How to lead without pushing. How to communicate interest without collapsing into validation seeking. This isn't about manipulation. It's about alignment between your words, your gaze, your posture, and your intent. You'll learn how to hold tension without fear, how to move with masculine clarity, and how to stop asking for intimacy and start inspiring it. So, if you've ever felt invisible to women, if you've ever walked away from a date wondering, why didn't she feel what I felt? This is the video that will flip the script. Because when you stop trying to convince her and start becoming the kind of man who doesn't have to, everything changes. Let's begin. Number 1. She doesn't want weak energy. Let's be clear about one thing: she's not rejecting intimacy. She's rejecting weak energy. There's a huge difference. Most men assume she's saying no to sex, to closeness, to connection. But what she's actually saying no to is a vibe, a nervous energy. A man who walks into the moment with hesitation, with self-doubt, with a question mark hanging over his head. Weak energy isn't just unattractive, it's invisible. It doesn't pull her in. It doesn't give her something to lean into. It doesn't inspire her to open. Instead, it makes her tense up, withdraw, lose interest. Think of the guy who over-explains, who needs constant reassurance, who leads every move with, "Is this okay?" He thinks he's being respectful. What she feels is disconnection, doubt, and hesitation. Because here's the brutal truth: desire is not something you negotiate, it's something you embody. Let me give you a real example. James is 42, smart, fit, stable career. He starts dating a 27-year-old woman. Confident, magnetic, very feminine. Everything is going well, until the energy shifts. Instead of owning his desire, James starts shrinking. He second-guesses every move. He texts too often. He talks about how nervous he is to mess things up. He asks for clarity. He asks if things are moving too fast. He becomes careful. And just like that, she loses attraction. Why? Because she's not craving a man who asks permission. She's craving a man who stands in certainty. The man anchored in Stoicism doesn't flinch at silence. He doesn't overreact to emotional shifts. He doesn't chase outcomes. He holds frame. He breathes slowly. He leads calmly. And when he expresses desire, it's not a request, it's a reflection of who he is. That's what she wants to feel. That's what she can't resist. Stoicism trains you to ground yourself before the storm arrives. It teaches you how to stay still when the room shakes. That's the exact kind of presence women respond to on a primal level. Not because you're being aggressive, but because you're anchored. The weak man performs. The strong man radiates. He doesn't speak much. He doesn't try to impress. He doesn't hope. she feels the same. He simply exists in full alignment with what he wants and without apology. And you know what happens then? She leans in. She softens. She becomes curious. Because when a woman senses she's finally in the presence of a man who doesn't need her to validate him, doesn't need to be told what's okay, doesn't need to beg, she relaxes. That's the gateway to intimacy. Not clever lines, not begging for signs, not playing it safe, but grounded energy that leads from the body, not the mouth. You think she doesn't notice your shaky tone, your rushed movements, your self-doubt. She sees it, she feels it, and she pulls away, not because she's confused, but because something in her says, this isn't it. It's not rejection of you as a man. It's rejection of the uncertainty you carry. So what does strong energy look like? It looks like a man who can maintain eye contact without blinking. A man who can sit in silence without filling it with nervous chatter. A man who can communicate his intent not with desperation but with clarity. He doesn't pressure her. He doesn't chase. He doesn't pretend. He simply holds his ground. And in that stillness, she finds something she can trust. That trust is where attraction starts. That attraction is what leads to intimacy. And intimacy is never earned through performance, it's felt through presence. So here's the takeaway. Stop trying to be the nice guy who gets everything right. Start becoming the man who radiates certainty in silence. When you shift that, everything changes. Mixed signals disappear. Overthinking dies. The second guessing ends. Because now, you're leading with energy that holds weight. And she'll always follow what she can feel. Type, I don't beg, in the comments if you're done apologizing for your desire. And keep watching. What's coming next might flip everything you thought you knew about leading. Number 2. Stop asking. Start leading. Let's say it out loud. Asking for intimacy doesn't work. Not because it's wrong, but because it's the wrong frame. When you ask, you flip the power dynamic. You step out of leadership and into permission seeker mode. Women aren't wired to feel turned on by negotiation. They're wired to feel your confidence, to sense your certainty. When you ask, is this okay? Do you want this too? Should I? What you're really saying is, I'm not sure of myself. Please tell me what's allowed. And that's not leadership. That's fragility. Now, I'm not telling you to ignore consent. Don't twist this. But there's a world of difference between checking in with clarity and seeking approval like a boy begging to stay up late. A woman wants to feel a man who knows where he's going. She doesn't want to be the map, the compass, and the driver. Let's break this down in real time. Picture 2 men. One says, would you be okay if I kissed you now? The other holds eye contact, lets silence breathe, reads her body language, and calmly leans in with presence. Not force, not fear, just grounded clarity. The first man asked. The second man led. Guess who makes her feel feminine? Guess who turns her on without saying a word? It's the man who knows how to lead. And here's what's wild, she might not even know why she's drawn to him. Because real leadership isn't about being alpha or dominant. It's about being grounded, present, certain in yourself, not trying to get something from her, but inviting her into your world. This is where Stoicism comes in. Stoicism teaches you to act with intention, not reaction. To make moves from principle, not panic. To hold a clear direction, even when the world doesn't validate you. That's what leadership is. It's not loud. It's not showy. It's calm execution. And in intimacy, that shows up in the subtlest moments. Your tone, your timing, your breath. Women notice these cues far before you touch them. She's reading your nervous system before you say a single thing. When you lead with strength, you don't have to ask. Your energy tells the story. So, what does leading actually look like in this context? It looks like being decisive. It looks like taking small, confident steps forward without demanding permission at every turn. It looks like checking in with presension or insecurity, a slow look into her eyes, a gentle pause, a moment of stillness before a touch. You don't need lines. You don't need to overthink it. What you need is congruence. When what you want matches how you move, she feels that. And the answer becomes obvious without asking. That's how you lead. And yes, sometimes she'll say no. That's okay. That's real life. That's human connection. But she'll respect you. She'll feel safe around you. She'll stay curious. Because even in rejection, a man who leads with strength never loses his center. He doesn't collapse. He doesn't apologize for his masculinity. He stays solid. That alone makes him 10 times more attractive than the guy who needs green lights at every intersection. So stop asking. Start leading. Not with force, with clarity, not with games, with grounded presence. Because if she senses that you're waiting on her to feel like a man, she'll never let you step into that role. But when you show her you already are one without saying a word, she'll follow your energy naturally. That's the power of masculine leadership. That's the shift from needy to magnetic. If you've ever held back out of fear, type "I move first" in the comments. And don't go anywhere. The next move you make could rewrite the rules of attraction. Number 3. Her desire isn't logical. Here's where most men get stuck. They think if they can just explain themselves clearly enough, if they can be respectful, honest, vulnerable, if they can say the right things and check all the emotional boxes, then she'll respond with intimacy. But that's not how her desire works. Desire, for her, doesn't come from logic. It comes from feeling. And feelings aren't linear, they aren't rational. They don't follow the pattern your brain expects. They pulse, they shift. They arrive when the conditions are right, not when you ask for them. So if you're sitting there trying to reason your way into closeness, you've already lost the thread. She doesn't respond to your words. She responds to your energy. Let's make that real. You tell her, "I really care about you." You explain how much you respect her boundaries. You tell her you've been thinking about her non-stop. You think you're building intimacy, but if your voice is shaky, if your body's tense, if your eyes are scanning for her approval, she feels none of that. Instead, she feels pressure. She feels uncertainty. She feels a man trying to control her choice by being nice enough, and that kills attraction. Here's the twist: she doesn't want to think through every move with you. She wants to feel drawn into the moment. And that draw has less to do with what you say, and everything to do with how you hold yourself. That's why so many men are confused. They say, "But I was so emotionally open. I was honest. I communicated. And sure, you did those things, but you did them from a place of trying to earn something." That's where the difference lives. You can't talk a woman into wanting you. You can't checklist your way into her body. You can't force emotion through strategy. You lead her into connection by creating a space where she can feel, not think. A Stoic man understands this deeply. He knows logic is a tool, but not in the realm of intimacy. He doesn't try to win through debate. He doesn't push facts into feeling. He lets her emotions rise naturally by holding presence, not pushing performance. He listens more than he talks. He holds silence like a gift. He doesn't need to explain because he trusts what's unspoken. When she senses that, when she feels a man who doesn't need her emotions to be tidy or timely, she lets go. She lets herself feel what she wants to feel, not what she's supposed to. That's when the attraction turns visceral. That's when the intimacy becomes real. Let me be clear. This doesn't mean ignoring her emotions or playing dumb. It means stop trying to make it make sense. Her body doesn't care about your logic. It cares about whether you make her feel seen, safe, and stimulated. And that comes from your grounded presence, not your emotional pitch. So here's what you do. Stop trying to convince. Stop waiting for the perfect timing. Stop making her desire your responsibility. Instead, be fully in your own energy. Be clear about what you want. Be unattached to the outcome. And most of all, stay relaxed in the unknown. That's what draws her closer. That's what makes her curious. That's what flips the moment from hesitation to heat. Because when a woman feels like she has permission to follow her body, not your words, everything changes. And she might not even know why. That's how desire works. Not by logic, not by checklists, by feeling something real. Type, "I trust the feeling," in the comments if you've been done trying to logic your way into connection. And stay here, the next move isn't louder. It's quieter, deeper, and 10 times more effective. Number 4, sexual energy is felt, not said. Let's get one thing clear: sexual energy isn't a conversation. It's a current, a signal, a presence, and you can't fake it with words. You can talk about attraction, you can say what you want, you can drop flirty lines and bold comments. But if your body doesn't back it up, if your energy doesn't say it before your mouth does, she won't feel a thing. This is where so many men slip. They try to generate intimacy with language. They say things like, "I find you so sexy. I've been thinking about you. I really want this to go somewhere." But here's the problem. Those words don't land unless she's already feeling it through your presence. You can't spark desire by talking about desire. Because for her, attraction isn't activated by logic. It's activated by sensation. She needs to feel the tension in the space between you, the slow rhythm in how you look at her, the grounded weight in your voice, the calm strength in how you move. That's what flips the switch. If your sexual energy only lives in your head, or worse, in your words, she tunes out. Because women aren't looking for promises. They're looking for alignment. Is your energy aligned with your desire? Is your body calm or desperate? Is your presence secure or seeking? A man who radiates sexual energy doesn't need to escalate through talking. He doesn't need to comment on her body or ask if she's in the mood. He doesn't telegraph attraction. He embodies it. He leads with subtlety, with breath, with pause, with stillness. He knows that less noise equals more pull. Let's break it down. There's a difference between sexual tension and sexual explanation. Tension lives in silence, in holding eye contact just long enough, in sitting close without rushing, in touching her arm briefly and pulling away. That space, those micro moments create charge. Explanation kills it. "I just want to be clear. I'm into you. I think we've got something here. I feel like there's a vibe between us." All of that sounds nice, but it belongs in a therapist's office, not in seduction. And I know what you're thinking, but shouldn't I communicate? Yes, you should, but not to overcompensate for your lack of energy. Words are great after the tension exists, not to create it. This is where Stoicism comes in. A Stoic man doesn't leak nervous energy. He doesn't chase outcomes. He stays centered in his body. He breathes slow, moves slow, speaks slow, not because he's trying to look cool, but because he's not in a rush to get anything. He's present, and that presence transmits certainty. That's what she feels, not your clever lines, not your emotional pitch, your charge, your ability to hold the moment without needing it to change. That's why the men who say the least often generate the most chemistry. Their stillness speaks louder than any compliment. So if you're the guy who overtalks, who nervously explains, who tries to verbally manufacture connection, stop. Get in your body. Ground yourself. Lead with feeling, not phrasing. Start small. Sit across from her. Say nothing. Let silence work for you. See if she holds your gaze or looks away, then back again. That's your cue. You'll learn to feel the energy without needing it spelled out. And when you do speak, say less. A glance, a breath, a pause. That's where the charge builds. And when it does, she won't need convincing, because she's already felt everything she needs to know. If you've ever ruined the moment by saying too much, type, "I feel it" first. in the comments. And stay locked in. What's coming next will shift how you approach presence in the most unexpected way. Number 5. Calm men drive her crazy. Let me tell you something that flips the script. It's not loud guys who get remembered. It's not the flashy, aggressive, fast-talking ones. It's the calm men. The ones who don't rush, don't chase, don't flinch. Because when a man is calm, truly calm, it messes with her in the best way. She starts asking, why isn't he nervous? Why doesn't he fill the silence? Why does he make me feel so seen without saying much? You see, most men leak energy the moment they feel desire. They get jittery, they talk too fast, they try too hard. But when a man stays grounded, relaxed in his own body, it creates mystery. And mystery is a spark. She starts to feel curiosity, attraction, pull. Not because you said something smooth, but because you didn't need to say anything at all. Let me give you an example. There's a man, let's call him Marcus. He's at dinner with a woman 10 years younger, confident, sharp, playful. She's used to men trying to impress her. But Marcus, he leans back. He speaks slowly. He doesn't interrupt her. When she challenges him, he smiles, not defensively, but like he's already at peace. He doesn't react. He doesn't chase the moment. He lets the conversation breathe. And here's the crazy part. She leans in more. She asks more questions. She keeps touching his hand without even realizing it. Why? Because calm is magnetic. In a world of men trying too hard, calm makes her wonder, what's different about him? This is the core of Stoicism in practice. Stoicism doesn't mean you're cold. It means you're unmoved by things that don't deserve your reaction. You're not emotionless, you're emotionally disciplined. And that discipline shows in moments where most men fold. She tests your tone. You don't get defensive. She flirts, then pulls back. You stay centered. She delays intimacy. You don't beg. You don't chase because you don't need. You invite because you know what you're worth. That energy, it drives her wild. It makes her feel safe and challenged at the same time. Safe because you're not erratic. Challenged because you're not needy. Women remember how you make them feel, not what you say. And nothing feels better than the presence of a man who's fully comfortable in his skin. The calm man doesn't seek to impress, seeks to feel the moment. He notices details. He's slow with his touch. He holds eye contact without blinking first. And because he's not chasing outcomes, she lets go of pressure too. This opens the door to intimacy, not through force, but through feeling safe to surrender. She doesn't have to perform. She doesn't have to second guess. She can just feel. And the calm man gives her that. So if you're used to leading with speed, energy, performances, slow it all down. Calm your tone. Slow your breath. Say less. Let your body speak for you. Because when you're calm, she starts listening with her whole body. And that's when the real tension begins. So many men lose the moment because they can't sit in silence. They break it with over-explaining, with jokes, with apologies. You don't need that. You trust the silence. You trust her to come to you. You trust the space you create. That's power. And that power isn't loud, it's still. Type, I stay calm, in the comments if you're done performing for her attention. And don't go anywhere, because what comes next will challenge the way you think about leading attraction without saying a word. Number 6, make her suggest it. Let's flip the script completely. What if you didn't initiate intimacy? What if she did? Most guys are in a hurry. They're chasing, suggesting, testing the waters, always moving first. But what if you created the kind of space where she's the one leaning in? Where the idea of getting close isn't something you propose. It's something she can't help but feel. Here's the truth. When you make her feel like it was her idea, her desire becomes 10 times stronger, because she owns it. She stepped into it. She crossed the line without being pushed. And that makes all the difference. Let's break this down. If you're the one always leading the conversation toward intimacy, making subtle hints, touching too early, asking where this is going. She feels guided, yes, but she also feels managed. She's reacting to your desire, not awakening hers. But if you back off just a bit, if you sit in that tension a little longer, if you don't rush to label or steer or perform, suddenly she starts wondering, wait, is he into me? Why hasn't he tried anything yet? What's he waiting for? And now she's thinking about you. That's where it starts. Desire isn't born in words. It's born in curiosity. This is the difference between chasing chemistry and creating the conditions for it. Women are more responsive than initiating. If you give her space to respond without pressure, without noises, he'll often do something you didn't expect. She'll suggest it, maybe not with words. Maybe she'll lean in closer. Maybe she'll find a reason to touch you. Maybe she'll say, what would happen if I stayed? That's the sign. Not because she wants control, but because she wants to feel free in her own desire. And freedom doesn't live in your persuasion, it lives in your patience. A man grounded in Stoic energy understands this completely. He doesn't act from urgency. He doesn't demand clarity. He trusts the process of attraction without needing to force it. He knows this isn't a performance. It's an energy exchange. And energy moves best in silence, stillness, and space. So how do you actually make her suggest it? Simple. You lead with presence, not pressure. You stay in the moment instead of jumping ahead. You drop expectations and just feel. That moment when she leans into you on the couch pause. That glance she holds 2 seconds too long, hold it back. That time she laughs and touches your knee, breathe. Stay grounded. Don't rush. Don't say, do you want to? Don't ask, should we? Let her curiosity work for you. If she wants to move forward, she will. And when she does because she chose it, it's real, it's clean, it's powerful, it's hers. And when a woman owns the moment like that, she opens up in a way no amount of convincing could ever achieve. This is the most counterintuitive move most men miss. They think being bold is always the way. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let her make the move. Because when she suggests it, there's no resistance, only invitation. And she'll remember it forever. So stop trying to engineer the moment. Create space. Stay calm. Trust your energy. Because her suggestion is often your reward for not needing it. Type, I create space, in the comments, if you've ever felt the power of just waiting. And stay with me. Next shift in your mindset will transform the way you express attraction without a single word. Number 7. Master eye contact, not pickup lines. Let's stop pretending words are your strongest move. They're not. In fact, when it comes to building tension, creating desire, and making her feel something real, your words are the weakest tool in your kit. The real weapon? Eye contact. I'm not talking about the casual glances you throw around during small talk. I mean real eye contact. Still, direct. Unapologetis. That kind of eye contact doesn't ask for attention. It commands it. Pickup lines try to get her attention, but strong, unbroken eye contact holds it. And once you've held her gaze for long enough, something subtle but powerful happens. She starts to feel you, not just hear you, not just see you, feel you. That's the difference between trying to be clever and being magnetic. Let's break it down. Most guys rely on pickup lines thinking the right sentence, the perfect joke, or the smartest flirt will unlock her attraction. But what they don't realize is, if your energy isn't aligned, your words fall flat. You could have the best line in the world, but if you say it with nervous eyes, a shaky voice, or a jittery body, she feels off. It doesn't land. Now imagine the opposite. You lock eyes with her. You say nothing. You hold that space for a second longer than she expects. And you don't flinch. No line, no tactic, just you fully present, calm, and unshaken. That right there, that's tension. That's confidence. That's power. She'll feel a rush. Not because of what you said, but because you were the first man in a long time who wasn't scared to just look at her. And when a man looks at a woman not as a performance, not as a demand, but as a clear, grounded presence, he feels safe. She feels seen. She feels desired, but not rushed. That's rare, and rare is irresistible. Here's why it works psychologically. Eye contact bypasses the rational brain. It sends a direct message to the limbic system, the emotional part of her mind. It says, "You're here with me now." And the longer you hold it, without tension or performance, the deeper that connection goes. This is pure Stoic energy. The Stoic man doesn't chase reactions. He creates presence. He doesn't try to impress. He allows her to experience him through stillness. He knows that the eyes reveal more than the mouth ever could. So instead of memorizing lines, master the stare. Practice locking eyes without apology. Practice breathing slowly while looking into hers. Practice saying something simple then, letting your gaze carry the meaning. Because here's the truth. The eyes say what the mouth never dares to. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about staring her down. It's not about creeping her out. It's about inviting her into a shared space and letting the unspoken tension rise. She should feel curiosity, not pressure. Anticipation, not obligation. Intensity, not awkwardness. When she looks away, don't chase with your words. Let her come back. And when she does look into her, not just at her, let your eyes say, "I'm here. I see you. I'm not in a rush." That will make her heart race faster than any witty line ever could. So the next time you think about what to say, stop, say less, look more. Because eye contact is the language of desire. And if you speak it fluently, she won't need you to explain a thing. Type, "I lead with presence" in the comments if you felt the difference between words and energy. And stick around. The next shift is going to rewire how you initiate closeness without needing permission. Number 8. Let silence build the tension. Here's a truth most men never learn. The most seductive moments don't come from what you say. They come from what you don't say. Silence, when used with confidence, is not awkward. It's powerful, because silence creates space, and space creates tension, and tension builds desire. Most guys fear silence. They rush to fill it. They think if she's not talking, or if they're not talking, something's wrong. So they start rambling, joking, asking too many questions, trying to keep things comfortable. But here's the thing. Comfort is not what creates attraction. Tension do. The right kind of silence isn't cold, it's electric. It's the space where curiosity grows, where she starts wondering, what's he thinking? Why isn't he saying anything? Does he know what he's doing to me right now? And when those thoughts start playing in her head, that's when the real connection begins. Think about music. What makes a song hit you emotionally isn't just the notes, it's the pauses between the notes. That's what gives rhythm, emotion, drama. It's the same in conversation. The pause before a sentence, the breath after a compliment, the silence after she laughs and looks at you. Waiting. That space is where intimacy grows. If you're brave enough to sit in it, let's say you're sitting across from her, the conversation's flowing, she's engaged. Then she says something flirtatious. She looks at you a second longer. Most guys would jump in, crack a joke, shift the topic, say something clever. You pose. You hold her gaze. You breathe. You let the silence speak for you. And in that stillness, she feels your presence. She feels your confidence. She feels your restraint. And that restraint makes her want to lean in. Now, this doesn't mean being stone cold or emotionally distant. Silence only works if your energy is grounded, if your body language is relaxed, if your eye contact is steady, if your attention is fully with her. That's Stoic presence. The Stoic man doesn't flinch when it gets quiet. He doesn't need noise to feel in control. He trusts the moment, because he knows, if she's quiet and still sitting with you, that is the connection. That's her leaning in without words. And when you learn to be okay with silence, she starts to see something rare. A man who doesn't perform. A man who isn't desperate to impress. A man who feels like gravity. That's magnetic. There's one more layer here most people miss. When you go silent, you give her the chance to reveal herself. Most men are so busy talking that they never give a woman space to feel. But when you slow down, she starts sharing. She starts reaching. She starts opening. Because there's finally room for her to do it. You don't have to force it. You don't have to push it. You just have to be still long enough for it to happen. This applies even in the most intimate moments. Imagine the difference between saying, "Can I kiss you now?" versus just being quiet, leaning in slightly, holding eye contact, and letting her decide what happens next. Which one feels more powerful? Which one creates tension she'll remember for days? That's right. Silence isn't emptiness. It's a container, and if you let it stay open just long enough, she'll want to fill it. I don't rush. In the comments if you're ready to stop fearing the silence and start using it to your advantage. And don't leave yet. What's coming next is a powerful shift in how you invite intimacy with your energy alone. Number 9. Show intent, not need. Let's be clear. Women are not turned off by your desire. They're turned off by your need. There's a huge difference between a man who shows intent calm, grounded, clear, and a man who shows need anxious, reactive, overinvested. Intent says, "I see you, I want you, but I'm good either way." Need says, "I need you to like me. I need this to happen, or I'll feel incomplete." And which one feels more attractive? The guy who owns his desire and expresses it without attachment, or the guy who chases intimacy because it's the only thing validating his worth? It's obvious. Here's the thing. Women don't fear your sexual interest. In fact, they feel flattered when a strong, masculine man shows intent. But they pull away when that interest comes wrapped in tension, hesitation, or outcome dependence. Let's say you're on a date. You're into her. She knows it. You compliment her in a simple, grounded way. You hold eye contact. You lead the conversation with confidence. That's intent. Now let's look at the opposite. You compliment her too soon, too much. You're overly polite. You ask if everything's okay too often. You check if she's still having fun. That's need. Intent is attractive because it comes from abundance. Need is unattractive because it comes from scarcity. One says, "I'd like to connect with you." The other says, "I need you to like me or I'll collapse." Women can sense the difference before you even open your mouth. So how do you show intent the right way? Start with your posture. Stand tall, move slowly, speak directly. When you compliment her, look into her eyes. Let your voice stay calm. Mean what you say and stop talking after. Don't explain it. Don't add nervous laughter. Don't backpedal. Intent needs no apology. Then, lead. Suggest the next place. Make decisions. Guide the energy. Don't wait for her to validate every move. Attraction isn't democratic. It's energetic. And when a man shows leadership without controlling, becomes irresistible. Here's a real-world example. You're walking her home. You pause outside her door. You look at her. You smile. You say, "Tonight was real." Then you pause. You're not begging. You're not pushing. You're giving her space, but your presence is clear. She feels the pull, not because you said the perfect thing, but because your energy says, "I'm not afraid of this moment." That's Stoicism in action. The Stoic man doesn't suppress desire. He controls how he moves with it. He doesn't apologize for attraction, but he doesn't collapse under it either. He expresses himself from internal abundance, not external desperation. And here's the paradox. The less you need the moment to go a certain way, the more likely it will, because she feels free. She doesn't feel cornered. She gets to respond from her own space note, out of pressure. And when she chooses to move closer, it's real. So stop hiding your interest. But stop chasing outcomes. Let your presence carry weight. Let your touch carry calm. Let your words be fewer, but stronger. Intent is about being the man she's drawn to, not convincing her. Type, "I lead without need," in the comments if you've ever felt the shift when you stopped chasing and started owning your energy. And don't leave yet. In the final piece, we're going to anchor all of this with the ultimate Stoic principle that seals the deal without you lifting a finger. Number 10. Own your desire without apology. Let's end with this because it's the most misunderstood part of masculine attraction. You are allowed to want her. You are allowed to feel desire. You are even allowed to show it. But you must never apologize for it. This is where most men break their own power. They treat their desire like a problem. They hide it, dress it up, water it down. They think if they show it too soon or too clearly, she'll be offended. But the truth? Women don't fear desire. They fear weakness around desire. When a man owns what he feels with presence, clarity, and calm, he becomes the rarest thing in her world. Someone she can trust and desire. This doesn't mean being crude. It doesn't mean being pushy. It means standing in your truth. I want you, but I don't need you. That's magnetic. You express it in how you look at her, how you guide moments without fear, how you create space without begging to fill it. Stoic men don't suppress their attraction. They channel it. They use it to sharpen their edge, to refine their discipline, to lead with respect and intensity. Desire, when owned without apology, becomes a gift. It tells her, this man knows who he is. He's not waiting for permission to feel. That's confidence. That's rare. And that's unforgettable. So don't shrink from it. Don't disguise it. Let her feel it in the way you carry yourself. Because the man who doesn't apologize for wanting is the one who never has to beg to be wanted. If you're still here, it means something clicked. You didn't just listen, you felt it. And if that's true, then this is your next move. Hit that subscribe button. This channel isn't just about Stoicism, it's about reclaiming your edge as a man in today's world. Not chasing approval, not apologizing for being real. Just showing up stronger every damn day. And if you're ready to go deeper, join the Stoic Brotherhood. Our private members circle is where this conversation continues. You'll get exclusive content, deeper insights, and tools to build not just attraction, but true masculine power. So, subscribe, join the community, start leading with calm, not chaos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you right here tomorrow.